Oh, I forgot to start the music. That's all it was. Oh, maybe I need to bring it down a bit. Actually, let's do it this way. Da 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 na 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 da 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 na 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 da 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 da. All right. It has been a whole minute since we've had a stream like this. The bot hasn't come out yet, so I can just keep chatting. Oh, I should move this here. There we go. Hello. The bot still hasn't posted. That's weird. Eh. Eh. Hello. Okay. Oh man. Is the bot not going to post that I'm going live? Is the bot just done? Huh, seems like it. Well, just gonna yoink that message from before. And I can't copy paste. Nice. Da 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 da. Ba-da, ba-da, da 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 da. All right, and I have chat up as well. Sweet. So if you want the music, it should be on that side. Wait, I gotta look at the fucking preview. No, it's on this side. All the way at the top. At the top. Actually, I should probably get the playlist, huh? This is the playlist I'm playing. It's not by me, it's by Sindri Tuna, who I've been hanging out, whose streams I've been hanging out in quite a bit. Yeah. Anytime someone wants that playlist, I'll just dump it, probably. Uh, but it's been a long time since we've been back to this story. If you want the previous chapters and stuff, if you want to listen to them, you can go to the YouTubes. Uh-oh. There we go. Yeah, so I have a YouTube channel, and within the channel there is a playlist for the TGAB series. I should download the previous two VODs as well. I nearly forgot about that. I need to do that. Yeah. What else? What else? What else? It's mainly it. Um, I know last week I didn't do didn't do one stream, so I'm trying to do two this week, and so that we can get the usual number of streams for the month in. As weird as that sounds, from day after onwards, I'll actually be slightly busy with what's that called? I have a project coming up that I need to devote a lot of time to. So Saturday nights will have stream. Friday nights might not, depending on how tired I get. The heck's wrong with my ears? What else? What else? Yee, Shani did amazing just last night. So many people. Shani put up. And all the subs and stuff that y'all gave me. Y'all make my heart bleed, man, I swear. Did it. Da 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 da. What else? What else? I forget. There's something else I probably wanted to say, but I'm blanked out of my head now, so. Yeah. Yeah, I guess we can get started reading. I have water with me. So, last we left off, I believe. Actually, you know what? It's probably easy to just go through the table of contents. Oh, that's perfect. Everything's lagging. That's not good news. There we go. So in Pro, we got to see Telrin come to a town, talk about this mysterious incident where a girl just spontaneously burst into flames, and then got consumed by said flames. And then she went on to fuck the sheriff. And then in chapter 1 we got introduced to Trissini? Yes, Trissini. And we saw her make her way to Last Rock University, where she met the rest of her class and inter-classmates. Can't remember if they've had... Can't remember where we stopped. I remember that they were asked to do like assessment on each other and find out like their weaknesses and stuff. But I don't fully remember what happened there. I also remember that there were... Oi. Alright. So we can start reading, probably. I'll take one gulp of water. Images in crystal balls were always somewhat distorted by the... Whoa. Scared me. Hi. Hi, madam. I've not been naughty, probably. Also, I just realized you changed your name, Jenny. Do I just call you madam now? Probably, right? Hello. Madam's good? Alright, I shall continue. That's easier for me as well, because I don't need to remember it. Also, I didn't need to, like, mess up the pronunciation of Janique every single time. Sorry, I did that. Yeah. Did I butcher it? Probably. Probably. Let me know if the music is too loud. I didn't butcher it? Wow. Pog. But yeah, this is chapter 12 actually. Um, if you want to watch the others, there's links in my there's a playlist in my YouTube where I post as of till 2 streams ago. I posted all of my streams on there. Um, I need to post 2 more streams there, and this one. So yeah. Anyway, images in crystal balls were always somewhat distorted by the shape of the thing. It was looking like a. It was like images in crystal balls were always somewhat distorted by the shape of the thing. It was like looking through a soap bubble. The larger and clearer the crystal, though, the sharper and more comprehensible the image. That was why the 4 men met in the Emperor's own conference chamber, rather than the little out-of-the-way nook in one of the palace's sub-basements, as they were accustomed. It was hardly less secure, and had the advantage of the proper equipment to display what the hand of the Emperor felt they should see personally, without the awkwardness of making several of the Empire's most important personages crane their necks and squint. Oh! Bella threw her camera off the desk? Oh no. Is the camera okay? Am I louder? Seems like I am. Let me worry about it then. Uh-oh. There you go. On a brass stand in the center of the hulking conference table sat a pumpkin-sized globe of utterly flawless white quartz, a gift from the Queen of Tarnarsis. Viewed from any angle, its central body was all but perfectly transparent, with but with a white haze around the edges, at least when it was not in use. Now, the peripheral discoloration remained, but the scene within was of another time and place. Modern crystal balls of formed glass avoided this property, but they held enchantments less well, and showed paler, washed-out images with greater distortions to the shape of the ball. On balance, the quartz made for sharper viewing. It had been a kingly gift indeed. It's still alive? That's good. I'm glad that's... I mean, as long as we can still see Bella. The 4 watched the recording in silence. The image in the crystal orb was the same, no matter the angle from which it was viewed. There was no sound, but before sending the recording to them, the scribes had added floating words to the bottom of the image, conveying dialogue. Bella the Queen? Yes. A ripple briefly distorted the scene when Elil casually destroyed one of the scrying orbs atop the watch post, but the image cleared immediately. There was nothing much to see by that point, though, save the goddess walking away, but every man present observed that intently. Queen of demons or no, she was well worth looking at. Yeah, this story is not safe for work. Neither is it very, well, it's not sexist per se, but there is quite a lot of, like, lit erotica elements to it. Even though those elements I wouldn't say are necessarily not safe for work, if that makes sense. Erotica. Well, gaming? Alright, cool. Have fun with the games. I'm assuming it's not Stream Raiders. Once she vanished, however,
So did the recording, and the four men leaned back in their chairs in unison. The black-coated hand turned the crank beneath the table, and with a clacking of gears, the crystal orb descended back into its resting place inside the heavy piece of furniture, the hidden panel sliding over it once it was down. It wouldn't do for it to be chipped or scratched, no matter how unlikely that was. Plus, they could now see each other clearly without having to crane their heads around it. Jesus Christ, it took me so long. The men? Asked Quinton Wex, who headed the Imperial Intelligence. As usual, he looked disinterested and half asleep, which they all knew to be an act. One did not get ahead in his field by being dull-witted, but one often could by pretending to be. "They're fine," said the man across from him, a slender and diminutive figure in a plain Imperial Army uniform without any medals. General Toman Panesar disdained the fripperies and indulgences that his position entitled him to. It was one of the things that endeared him to his men. Woke up within the hour, none the worse for wear. Not even much confused, though getting coherent reports out of them was a chore. All three have an amazing literary gift for botching even a simple incident report. This is the first time I've had a clear picture of what actually happened that day. "Well, you've seen it now," said the hand, who sat at the Well, you've seen it now, said the hand, who sat at the table who sat at the head of the table in the Emperor's place. For anyone else that would be a misdemeanor at least, but hands of the Emperor were his voice and spoke with his authority. Outside of their own ranks, nothing was known of the process by which they were selected and trained, nor what powers they wielded, or even how many there were. But their absolute and devoted loyalty was a cornerstone of imperial rule. According to rumor, these men had no names and no desires, or even identity, apart from their service to the Emperor. This hand was a balding man with craggy features, his remaining hair dark brown that matched his deep-set eyes. The view from the ground, so to speak, is significant, but Lord Quinton has more for us, I believe. Quite, and I'll forestall the obvious question that I know is at the front of everyone's minds, the spymaster said, slouching languidly in his chair. It's her, beyond doubt. The visual identification is a complete match with Ilal's other recorded incarnations on this plane. That can be faked, yes, if someone had the skill and the hay cart necessary to carry his balls around. But we've no shortage of corroborating evidence. He nodded to the hand. She was in the palace itself immediately prior to this incident, having planted herself. Fuck! Thank you, madam, for the sub. You scared the shit out of me. Oh god, my neck hurts from that one. Thank you for the sub. I was not expecting that whatsoever. She was in the palace itself immediately prior to this incident, having planted herself among the staff. Holmes' breath, Panesar cursed, then shot a guilty look at the fourth man at the table. My apologies, Bishop. Vex went on with an amused twitch of his lips. And we had our scars point everything in their arsenal at the sight, the instant she said off the words, which she did in a dramatic way. The Hellgate was unmistakably opened from the outside, then closed from within, which I'm sure you know is extremely unusual, and it was done by divine energy. We can know for an absolute fact that this wasn't the act of a god. As an incidental aside, our scans picked up traces of another scrying spell on the site, which we tracked to the vicinity of Last Rock. That woman, Panesar growled. That sums it up, yes. Wex said wryly, then turned to regard the bishop. We sent a briefing and a request to the church immediately. Indeed, yes, said Bishop Darling, putting on a polite smile. His Holiness was apprised beforehand of events unfolding within the palace, having himself foreseen Elile's involvement and warned the Emperor. He communed personally with the Pantheon immediately upon receiving a request. The Archpope personally verifies that none of the deities with whom we have any contact entered hell at that location. Several were keenly interested to learn that Elile apparently had. They don't know things like that anyway? Panisar asked dryly. Oh man, I love my emotes. They're so good. uh, did I set this up yet? Nope, no, I didn't. Well, the artist for the emotes is a certain uh, brain, brain, brain. Brains is completely blanking out on his Twitch name, but his name on Twitter, at least for doing panels and emotes, is Kantara Gaming. Daisy! Ah! Oh, Daisy Picker is his name on Twitch. Jesus Christ, that took me forever. Anyway, the bishop shrugged. He was a new addition to that group, the previous church liaison having retired quite recently. It was his first attendance at their regular meetings. He was also, by at least a decade, the youngest man present. What the gods do and do not know is a matter best not speculated on. Of course, he admitted with a grin. We do anyway. They are known to be able to hide their movements from each other, and Eliel, perhaps by necessity, is exceptionally good at that. To the point that I don't believe we would have been allowed to see this move on her part, if she did not wish us to. I agree, said Vex. And that is where the matter stands, gentlemen, the hand said, drumming his fingers on the table. The Mother of Demons is on the move, and has an interest in the Empire itself, specifically. Tiran forces have ended off several other campaigns at various times in the last 1,000 years, but this marks her first direct move against our government that we Hello. Sorry. I'm trying to. Jesus Christ, it's laggy as shit. Oh boy. Right, I'm back. What's the music? Ah, no wonder I recognized it. Right. Oh, where was I? And so, the game is on, the hand said grimly. I'd like to begin by sketching a profile of our enemy, if Bishop Darling will oblige us. You are the resident expert on the gods. I don't see this leading to anything but a sermon, said the general. Well, the high points such a sermon would hit are relevant. Darling folded his hands on the tabletop, gazing earnestly at them. Mother of demons, betrayed mankind, cast into hell, obsessed with revenge against a pantheon, etc. All this is pertinent to her motivations, but I'm going to assume you've all managed to attend enough Sunday services to have heard it before. Unless someone wants to correct me? Good. I have, in fact, made something of a study of the records of Eliel's various gambits over the millennia, and I am struck by an observation that I'm afraid the Church tends to bury in its zeal to warn against her. Eliel is, by any reasonable definition, a trickster god. How do you mean? Asked Hand, frowning. That she's sly? We knew that. I would say it is more that she's gleefully sly. That makes a difference? It does indeed, said Vex, looking somewhat more alert. It means, Darling went on, that she fits a pattern of behavior which better suits, say, Assyrian or Vex, than the leader of rampaging demonic hordes that the sermons tend to portray. In account after account, she has favored subtlety over brute force, and never been gratuitously cruel, except on the rare occasions when she has had a god of the pantheon at a disadvantage. She really hates them. When it comes to dealing with humans and other mortals, I would say that she seems to appreciate a worthy opponent. From her recorded comments alone, it is apparent she has quite a sense of humor. Humor, said Panasar flatly. Panasar said flatly. The bishop nodded. We think of evil in a certain way, a rather theoretical one. But evil, gentlemen, describes a class of actions, not a state of being. I am imposing my perspective somewhat here. As I've said, I have made something of a personal study of Eliel's movements. It's a hobby, you might say. But my impression from this is she tends to be less aggressive and more playful. How certain are you of that analysis? Asked the Highland after a moment in which the others silently digested this. Very. If you'd like, I can bring you a selection of materials to read. None are actually classified by the church, but most of the accounts are not widely published. That's alright, the hand said quickly. I have enough reports to slot through. You're the expert. We'll take your word. That's why you're here, after all. Of course. That being the case, it's a significant observation, said Vex. A campaign against a con artist will play right into her hands if you try to approach her as a general. But if you know what she is and how she works, then the game becomes less one-sided, said Panisar, nodding. Know thy enemy. Know your enemy. Unfortunately, if you're not allowed to know what she's up to, her personality profile is of little use. He pursed his lips into a thin line, staring at the hand. This much I can tell you, the hand replied. Her actions suggest an attempt to place a puppet on the throne of the empire itself. The bishop's observations fit with her methods, in fact, he added, frowning in thought. She killed 4 hands, but only when they attacked her. She was left with a golden opportunity to assassinate the emperor himself, but offered him no harm. Vex suddenly sat bolt upright in his chair. The recording! She said you wouldn't shoot a pregnant lady. Balls! Pansar hissed, realization thundering down on him. The hand shot to his feet, slamming both palms to the tabletop and leaning forward to glare at them. This matter is sealed to the throne. You will not repeat anything you have heard outside this room, even to each other, nor speculate further on the matter. Is that utterly clear? He did not relax even slightly until receiving a verbal acknowledgement from each of them. You were right, though, Darling noted. That information would rock the Empire, and I think we've seen the evidence of a willingness to use it. Dropping that hint just where it would get back to the people analyzing it. I think, Vex said slowly, you had better begin laying contingency plans for the rumor. At least, to get around. I believe that is your job, Lord Quinton? The hand shot back, still visibly irate. Indeed, sir, and now that I have an idea what is going on, I may be able to actually do it. He sighed, slouching back into his seat. There is a method to countering rumor if you get out in front of it. Of course, one runs the risk of spreading the very tale we want to suppress if she doesn't, in fact, attempt to spread it herself. And so it begins, Darling said. We second-guess ourselves and each other while she's out there freely acting. This is exactly how trickster figures operate. What would you suggest we do about it then? Demanded the hand. Individually, I'd have to say we would be overmatched. As a group, however, I advise you each to simply be careful not to become bogged down in introspection. Trust your instincts, communicate clearly with the rest of us, and between our various skills, I believe we have a good chance of countering her. So you suggest we fulfill the letter of the reason for this group's existence? The hand said flatly. Thank you very much, Bishop. Don't take it to heart, said Vex with a grin. He likes to have the last word. Just gonna... Let's keep this on track, said the hand quite stiffly. Indeed, he reminds me of a smart-mouthed fellow I used to know in my younger days. Always had to make sure he was the head of the group, that one. Fuck, I just continued reading. But you forgave his trespasses and became the bigger person, as the gods would have it of us, said Panasan, rolling his eyes. Yes, we know. Actually, Darling mused reminiscently. Eventually I kicked the crap out of him and slept with his girlfriend. And then his sister. A dead silence fell, the three of them staring at him. The bishop spread his arms in a gesture of benediction, smiling beatifically. No one is born a priest, gentlemen. Anyway, the hand said loudly, all other things being equal, we are in the unenviable place of needing to await our opponent's next move before we understand enough of our plans to counter them. The purpose of this meeting is to ensure that each of the bodies represented by this group is aware of the situation, in communication with one another, and able to meet the threat as it arises. That's it then. We wait? Hansar grunted. We have little choice, General, unless you propose to invade Hell. I have, in fact, drawn up projections of that very campaign. Oh? The hand lifted an eyebrow. And what did you conclude? I can't imagine I would need to spell it out for you. Insufficient data to properly plan an attack, and even the Terran Empire hasn't the resources to wage war on an entire plane of existence. Then yes, we wait. In the meantime, there are two related matters that need to be addressed, pertaining to the security of this matter. First is the ping from last drop. We should just send someone round to put that damned elf out of our misery, Panissa said sorely. You could see to that, couldn't you, Quinton? It's been attempted, Vex replied with a dry smile. By the best. The last time it was attempted by the Empire itself, Telrin sent the family signet of the then head of the intelligence to Princess Sharina as a wedding gift. His hand was still in it. There is a policy in place to deal with Telrin and those like her, said the hand, and it revolves around not antagonizing them without good and specific cause. The effort it would take to purge the Empire of such troublesome individuals would leave our civilization in ruins. For the time being, we are simply concerned with keeping her out of this matter. Need we, though? Asked Darling. It seems to me she could be a useful ally in this. The Terran Empire does not make alliances with individual citizens living in its borders. You know what I meant. Telrun's name crops up repeatedly in my readings of the histories of the gods. I rather think she knows many of them more intimately than their own priests. I'm sure all three of you are aware she's almost certainly killed one herself. For all her apparent love of causing troubles for its own sake, she's a heroic figure in legend, as well as often as a villainous one. And she's very likely been investigating this matter longer than we have. What? The hand leaned forward, frowning. How? There's the matter of the exploding girls. You're aware of it? I wasn't, said Panasar, though Wex and the hand both nodded. Exploding girls? Roughly 4 years ago, there were 5 confirmed cases of spontaneous human combustion, Darling explained. All teenage girls. This is from Paralogue 1. Or the Paralogue? No, Prologue. This is from the Prologue. All teenage girls. In each case, it was discerned after the fact that the victim had been attacked by a demon of extraordinary power, which attempted to possess her, resulting in the destruction of both the demon and girl in all cases except one. The one successful possession was of Teal Falconer, who is, I believe, currently enrolled at the university in Lastro. Blazing hell, Panasar whispered. Indeed, said Darling, nodding. The Falconer girl has control, and the demon Verendi appears to be amnesiac as a result of the trauma of possession, and evinces no desires except to exist. After thorough examination by the church, they were issued a talisman of absolution. I can't imagine Telrin is ignorant of the other events surrounding this student's condition, nor that she's let them go. She hasn't, Vex said. She's been sniffing around the attack sites for the past year, despite our attempts to keep the business hushed up. You're assuming this is part of Ilal's current activity? I'm not discounting Ilal's capacity to have multiple irons in the fire, the bishop replied. But on the scale on which gods move, 4 years is nothing. I think it's a safe assumption that the matters are, at least, related. Not only is Telrin already involved, and a person of useful capabilities who could help, but I think there's a good chance she's a leading expert on the matter. Bringing her in is absolutely out of the question, said Vex. That too has been tried. It was ugly. How ugly? Asked Panisar. Ever heard of the Ministry of Mysteries? No. That's right, you haven't. Neither has anyone else, since they tried to hire Telrin. I agree, said the hand. Directly involving an individual with a legendary capacity to destroy everything she touches is not on the table. However, it's not impossible that we can make use of her, provided we maintain a very circumspect distance. Vex mused, especially if she's already involving herself. Pointing Telrin at Elil would be a handy way to keep them both busy. I'll present the idea to His Majesty, said the hand said briskly. The only remaining matter is our 3 witnesses, who I believe are currently being detained. Obviously, the most logical solution is that they be silenced. No, Panisa said flatly. The hand scowled. Imperial security is a matter well worth the lives of 3 extremely underperforming soldiers. The Empire is people, the general snapped, not some vast mechanism. The day this government begins to exist for its own sake instead the benefit of its people, is the day it needs to fall. General, the hand said quietly, you've picked a strange audience to give voice to borderline treason. Go tell the Emperor what I've said. It's nothing I've not said to his face. I'm fairly confident, in fact, that he agrees with me. Those 3 boys may not be the best soldiers by any stretch of the imagination, but I want you to remember something. Faced with the most evil force in existence, their response was just draw their weapons and invoke the Emperor's name. They will not be thrown away like inconvenient puppies. I will fight you with every resource I can muster if you try. He leaned forward, staring intently at the hand. I advise you not to force me to exhaust the resources I can legally use. Getting soldiers for those posts is tricky, Vex explained to Darling in the icy silence which followed. Hellgate Guard and such. We like to use men who've tested well above average on loyalty and devotion to the Empire, but in the bottom rungs of every trait that makes them useful as soldiers. Loyal enough to be trusted, in short, but expendable in case whatever the guarding acts up. It's not a common combination of traits, and well, it leads to complications like this when it comes time to actually expend them. This is why you don't name the goats you raise for me. I see, Darling said slowly. Panisar and the hand were still glaring daggers at each other. I might be overstepping my bounds here, but I believe I have an idea. Go ahead, said the hand warily, leaning back in his seat. Well, it sounds to me like we have 2 problems, he said. There's the matter of handling Professor Telrin, who is probably inextricably involved in this already, without letting her botch our own attempts completely or attempting to force her out of it, which we are assuming would backfire. Backfire horrifically, yes, said Vex with a faint smile. And then, Darling went on, we have 3 soldiers who frankly deserve medals, but who for security reasons need to be stuck somewhere they cannot go blabbing and blow the lid off the whole thing. Yes, said Pansar, and sometimes, gentlemen, if the gods smile upon us, 2 problems are the solutions to each other. Bow, bow, bow. Hey, that's chapter 12. I thought I would be done with this a bit earlier and not have to take that short break in between, because I thought I would be able to do it now. But my parents don't wait for anyone. Which you saw from them just continuously coming in my room and telling me, hey, it's time to go. Yeah, so that's this chapter. We'll probably take like a couple minutes break. Perhaps like 15 minutes. I think we'll just do just chatting while we wait. While we chill. Like digest the chapter, you know? It's a good chapter. Basically introducing us to, or rather reintroducing us, because I believe we've already read the first chapter with what's his name? Bishop Darling. Yeah, it's we've reintroduced to Darling. I believe we did see him just gallivanting around the city in one of the previous chapters. I think it was 8 or 9. May have been 10. I don't fully remember. We're also introduced to the Imperial intelligence, Quinton Vex. Also the General, though he's not that big a character, Panisar. I don't think we've really ever seen him again. I don't fully remember him. Obviously, I've read the book already, and this is slightly spoilery. Yeah, it's generally stuff that's not too bad, I don't think. We also are introduced to the concept of the hands of the Emperor, and like kind of sort of who they may be. So it's clear that they're individual people, but they are also people who have dedicated their lives and something, just some form of agency for themselves. They've dedicated it all to the emperor, and they speak with the emperor's voice. They hold the emperor's authority. That's interesting because that does mean that they are sort of like slaves, but they have immense power, and that's interesting. That's really interesting. We can see stuff that happens because of that further on in the book. Oh god, I can't specify said stuff because that would be spoilers, and I just telling you this stuff is spoilers, I think. But I think it's fairly obvious as well. Um, and now we know what's the problem? Question mark with Teal. Why she has the talisman of absolution, which Tricinia identified fairly early on. Um, I mean, she did say that she had a demon possessing her. Did she? I don't remember, but it was this. We did hear that in the chapter. We also realize how this relates back to prologue one. Prologue one, just to the prologue, where we heard about Telrin uh, being Telrin investigating burning girls, spontaneously burning girls. Um, yeah. Any other connections I could think of? Not really. But we got a bit of time. I'm gonna move to this screen. Just chill for a minute. Rest my throat. Rest my ass. Thank you. How are you all doing? How's chat doing? My stream is still very behind. What? There we go. Yeah, I'm gonna run a 1 minute ad break. This should remove roll ads for anyone else. I'm gonna go take a piss. But I'll be right back. Break is running. Okay, cool. 21 minutes. Okay, I just saw myself do that once. God, that looked dumb. What are we playing now? Oh, it's still working. Okay, fake. Cool. Dun, dun, dun. Oh, I stopped doing the stream closed captioner. Ha, whoops. I forgot about that. Hello. Thank you. Should remember them zombies. Oh, you're shooting zombies. Is it with whatchamacallit? Brain. Brain. COD Zombies. Are you playing zombies? 7 Days to Die. God damn it. I was close. I was not close. Well. Oh, I can send captions directly to OBS. Ooh. It is interesting. I might have to think about that. Start my captions. Hello? Yes, okay, cool. Right, we should have captions on the bottom of my... Not on the bottom of my stream, but like... Scroll down. Yeah, I don't know if I have... Because I'm not using OBS, I'm using the Streamlabs OBS. So it's wonky. I want to switch to OBS, but I've been lazy. I've been lazy is all it is. Yeah, I still need to download the VODs from like the past couple days. Prefer OBS over all the other ones? Yeah, that's what a lot of people are telling me. To do OBS over like anything else. And I'm like, yeah, I just started with slobs, and so I kind of just too lazy to bother switching back. Is all it comes down to. I'm a very lazy person. Hydrate. Thank you. Posture check. Oh, thank you. Saw that. Posture checked. There you go. Hello, Trivix. Your work. Alright, boy. Have good work. Work well. Oh shit! I didn't turn that off. Fuck. Oh balls. Push-ups, huh? Alright. Don't fully remember if you can see this at this angle. Yeah, you can. Yeah, no, it's good. It's good that you're using it. Mom will be happy that I am doing push-ups. It's just I hate them. I hope this isn't you. 10 push-ups. I have forgotten how to do push-ups. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, 10. Oh, son of a bitch.
No sound lyrics, no worries.
Wait, does that mean no sound from my from me? No, it's there. Love you too, madam. You heard every grunt? Oh god. It's not something you should hear. It's not something anyone needs to hear ever. Why did that tucker me out that much? Trifects. I love how the two people in my chat are also streamers. Should both go check out Madam, who streams mostly Stream Raiders. Though I've seen her stream 7 Days to Die, as well as... What was the other one that I saw you stream? It wasn't 7 Days to Die, it was something else. I'm blanking out right now. And zombie games, yeah, fair enough. Or maybe it was 7 Days... Power Marshal Simulator, that's the one. Yeah, I think I saw you doing it, and I was like, ooh, cool! I clicked, and I just went to... I fell asleep. Also, Trivix also streams. Yeah, it's addictive, and it's also like very calming, I want to say. It's very, very nice. Trivix also streams. Trivix does Subnautica, XCOM, Overwatch. I think those are the games that he's playing right now. Might be wrong. I don't get to see his streams very often because they tend to be daytime, like night, like midnight-ish for me. Not midnight. Like 4 a.m. is when they start for me. Which means for Madam they'll probably start like 6? If I remember right. You sure? No wait, no. Are you sharing a of Angel? No, right? Because for Angel it would be 6. If you're... Well, if it's midnight for you now, ish, then it would be around 4 a.m. So it would be around 4-ish hours from now. It's lunch for you right now. Oh, you were in the US. Bro, why do I always see you on Angel streams? Canada, close. Well, in that case, Trivix streams should be at okay-ish times for you. Probably start like 4 p.m., 5 p.m. We also play D&D together with a bunch of people. Fair enough. That's the wrong command. That's not the command I wanted to use. There we go, D&D. Yeah, I played D&D with a bunch of people. Chocobo's our DM, Trivix, Anna, and MJ. MJ's our cleric. Anna is our... What you call that? Druid. Trivix is... Yeah, I'm addicted. I've been addicted forever. I should move this so you can see my face. Yeah, I've been addicted to D&D forever. I say forever, but really I've only gotten into it 3 years ago, 4 years ago, plus another 2 years. 8-ish years ago? Plus minus a bit. You like being the sorcerer? Well, Trivix is the sorcerer of our group. and I'm the fighter. Although usually I would also play druid. Like that's my first class. My first class ever in D&D was druid, which was a mistake because of how many things I had to juggle. But it was amazing. I did pretty good. You wanted trickster rogue. That's fun as well. Trickster rogues are fun. I've done the. I think I've done arcane rogue, not trickster rogue, just so I could get like some spells in. But trickster rogues are fun. They're a lot. I feel like there's a lot of potential for chaos with them. Um, yeah, if you want me to like help you with coming up with character, well, not coming up with character concepts, but more of doing up your sheets and stuff. I can do that. I am fairly well versed when it comes to the mechanical side. Just just from the sheer dent of playing all the shit. um, sorry. Da, 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 da. Yeah. Trying to think of other things, but also not really. D&D is a lot of fun. Ooh, okay. Are you watching any campaigns on YouTube? Because I was watching Critical Role, which is fairly famous. Not yet. All right, fair enough. Critical Role is pretty good. Although I didn't watch campaign one, I went straight into campaign two. So there's some like inside jokes and stuff that I don't fully get. So you can kind of easily figure it out, and there's always the wiki and stuff. But there's also a bunch of other shows out there, um, like what was that? Viva la Dirk League is also having one. Um, Guiding Light. I don't think I know that one. I'll have to look that one up. Guiding Light. These are just the spells. That's not the one I want. Apparently, that's a co-op game. Huh. Guiding Light Twitch doesn't have anything, and Guiding Light TND just brings up Guiding Bolt. Dang, I did not know these people. I am sorry. Apparently, Devil is a part-time light novel also. PS Super stopped. Let's try Twitch D&D. Nah, it's not here. Dang. And also the Guiding Light spell from D&D, which is a homebrew question mark. Dang, I don't know the song. I'm sorry, I did not know these guys. I'm sure they were a lot of fun. Like, I genuinely love watching these online. Ah, that's what got you addicted. Cool, cool. I think for me it was more of like just learning for like I read a lot of books. Like a lot of books. And what a bunch of the thing that was in common back then is there's always a lot of like stuff about D&D. And so I got interested in D&D, and I think Borderlands 2 had a D&D DLC with the Tiny Tina. And so that just was like to me. So I think that's how I got into D&D. I don't remember if the Borderlands thing was before or after I got into it though. Might have been after. This is a New Zealand streamers D&D campaign. I'll see if I can locate it. It sounds like it'll be fun. Bum, bum, ba, ba, da, ba, ba, bum. Yeah. Yeah, D&D is a lot of fun. I've always enjoyed D&D. Please switch scenes. There we go. Wow, it took forever. Okay, we can get back to reading probably. So we'll be going into chapter 13. It's a chapter that immediately follows the one we just read. Alright, let's go. Telrin accepted the essays at the start of class and graded them right in front of the students, for a given value of grading. She stood at the lectern, calmly reading over each of the 8 two-page papers and setting them aside in turn, while the freshmen sat staring at her in trepidation. It wasn't a very long wait. The professor didn't spend more than a few seconds on each page. Somehow, though, nobody seemed to doubt that she had read them all in full. Finally, she sighed, stacking the papers neatly, and stepping out from behind the podium. Well, as you doubtless managed to figure out, this has been a little getting to know you exercise. You'll be glad to hear that you are reaching a point in the semester after which there won't be many more of those, if any. The idea here is chiefly to give me an understanding of what I have to work with. I'm not somebody who teaches by the book, nor is anyone who understands how people learn. The weakness you perceive in those around you reveal a great deal about your own, which will tell me what I'm going to have to work on with each of you. So mission accomplished. She began to stroll calmly up and down the rows of desks, speaking as she did so. Miss Avella, you are a judgmental jerk. What? Worse, you're not aware of it. Mr. King, you are also a judgmental jerk. You do realize this, and in overcompensating, you reduce yourself to spinelessness. Miss Falconer, you have lofty ideals and neither the guts nor the backbone to do anything with them. Miss Awarian, you've a head full to bursting of academic knowledge, and little notion how such things actually play out in the real world. That's a forgivable feeling. It's what you're here to learn after all. On the same note, she came to a stop between the desks occupied by the two Fae. Juniper, Frost, I really can't tell whether the issue is that you two don't understand mortal society, or that you just don't understand, period. We'll work on that, as best as we can. Mr. Arquin, you're an extremely clever young man. Aw, thanks, Cheech, he said smugly. You're not nearly a tenth as clever as you think you are. The gap there will be what kills you. Try not to let that happen on campus. Miss Punagi, she heaved a sigh. Grow up. They stared at her in furious silence as she slowly picked her way back down to the podium, and took her place behind it. Well, she said at last, staring at them up over her spectacles. You did the assignment, so I guess I'll have to pass you. Everybody gets a D. The outcry from all sides was so heated that the only individual words audible were curses, and that was only because Rudal yelled the loudest. Shane alone kept silent, though she raised an eyebrow sardonically at the professor. Telrin endured this gracefully for about 10 seconds, then raised a hand and snapped her fingers. A thunderclap blasted through the room, accompanied by a rush of air that tipped empty desks backward and rocked all the students into silence, sending Frost careening against the back wall. As you go through life, Telrin intoned, you'll find that doing what you're told by authority figures is a path to mediocrity. Opposing authority figures in a knee-jerk fashion leads to a swift and brutal end. It is necessary to find a middle ground, and finding that means understanding the forces that move both individuals and groups, and how you can manipulate those forces to your advantage. Ironically, this is an art that hinges heavily on the elucidation of your own principles, in the philosophical framework of your life that you must uphold to protect your identity as a coherent being. This is the entire purpose of this class. The ultimate point of this task was to show me how far along you already are. I can't say I'm impressed. Each year, she went on, beginning to pace again, I start off my freshman with an assignment along these lines, if not this one exactly. Something needlessly, extravagantly cruel, calculated to attack each person where they are weakest, and drive wedges between them. In case you're wondering, the correct solution to this problem would have been for you to confer outside of class, then show up here this morning with no essays done, and tell me where to stick my damn homework. She smiled grimly at them. Don't beat yourselves up too hard. Out of 48 freshman classes which have started at this university, only 6 did the right thing. And of those, 2 did it in such a wrong-headed way that they fared little better than yourselves. For future reference, outside of FA's classes, attempting to lynch your professor gets you a B- at best, if I'm feeling vain enough to grant points for style and strategy. How much of what happens in this class is going to be sadistic mind games? Gabriel demanded. How many times, Arquin, must I tell you to raise your hand before speaking? A day may come when I give a flying fuck what you think, he shot back. But it's not this day. Aw, look who found his balls. Better late than never, she grinned diabolically. To answer your question, which is a valid one, your performance today gains you a bit of leeway going forward. I will not be party to the kicking of helpless kittens. Though I guarantee this is not the last time you will think so, the purpose of this exercise isn't to break your spirits. However, I will not have you leaving my university having memorized a bunch of names and dates out of a book. Understanding is what I teach, and what I expect you to gain. To that end, there will be a great deal of what Mr. Arquin describes as mind games. I will test you nearly constantly, in one way or another. You will acquire and demonstrate a capacity to think quickly, fluidly, and beyond conventional patterns, or you will keep retaking my class until you do. Is that what everyone wants? Is that what anyone wants? She tilted her head inquisitively, looking around at them, but no one offered a comment. Righto, then, Tolan said cheerfully. The scope of history is nigh limitless, but for our purposes, we are going to focus on comparatively recent events. The Tiran Empire itself is an excellent ongoing case study in everything a civilization can do right and or horribly wrong. So we will begin our investigations with the Empire's founding, a little more than 1,000 years ago, and proceed forward from there. Those of you who have an interest in other, more specific historical studies will doubtless find electives that suit your needs later in your academic career. To begin with, though this fact is vigorously hushed up by the modern empire, as can be without actually qualifying as suppression, the city-states of Tiras was a republic for a relatively long time, before the rise of Dacian Estarian. Dacian Estarian, the general who would go on to proclaim himself the first emperor. Though we will not downplay the contributions of exceptional people or peoples to the empire's rise, Tiras is also an excellent example of the quite accidental factors that affect the course of history and politics, which is history when it's still too fresh to chew. Over the long run, geography always has its way. The city itself is one of the most naturally defensible locations on the continent, and its position makes it an important hub of various trade routes. Jesus Christ. Every time Telron goes into lecturing mode, I get... That's so many words. Ruda caught up to Tristany as they were leaving Hellion Hall. So, she said with an elaborately casual air, I've been thinking. Tristany forcibly spit back a snotty comment that sprang to the forefront of her mind. Malicious sass was not becoming conduct for a paladin, even if directed at a parrot. She looked at Ruda, showing acknowledgement, but held her silence and waited for the other girl to continue. She gave Tristany a smile that, to her credit, only looked about half-forced. Yeah, I'm maybe not so inclined to take Tolerance seriously, and less every time she talks. But like I said, I was thinking, and I have to admit, she wasn't completely wrong. I was out of line. I shouldn't take a swing at you. I was being needlessly hostile and pretty much showing off. We all make mistakes, Tristany said, after the silence had stretched out enough that she was reasonably sure Ruda was done talking. She had gotten used to the silence between them. They had managed not to communicate or acknowledge one another since the incident yesterday, which made for tense living conditions. Still, she wasn't sure that it was worse than actually talking with her roommate. I accept your apology. Ruda blinked, then frowned. Did someone use the word apologize and I missed it? Well, what was the point of this, if not that? For a moment, she thought they were about to have another go. Ruda drew in a deep breath, swelling like an angry toad. She let it back out, though, without incident. Alright, fair enough. I'm apologizing. You're forgiven. Yeah, good. Great. She eyed Tristany up and down quickly, because the scowl and the moving combat stance really screamed forgiveness. Tristany set her teeth, choosing her words carefully. Forgiveness is just that. As far as I'm concerned, there need be no recrimination between us for anything in the past. However, I would be foolish to simply forget that a person is prone to be needlessly hostile and showing off with a deadly weapon. That is good advice, Gabriel said brightly from behind them. Most of the class was still walking in a group. The Frost and Juniper had fallen far behind, talking between themselves. What does that say about somebody who decides to murder a person based on what kind of blood they've got? Oh, hey, this sounds like a great thing for you to not get in the middle of, Teal said quickly, taking Gabe by the arm and all but dragging him away. Toby followed them, glancing back once. Look, I am trying here, Ruda practically growled. It's not like diplomacy is a big part of the Panaji upbringing. Meet me halfway, maybe? I am, Tristany said woodenly. You apologized. I forgive you. We are moving on. Alright, so that's step one, she replied, managing another somewhat unforced grin. Then I can teach you what pirates do know about diplomacy. How's about we grab a drink? My treat. I hear good things about the pub in town. I don't drink, Tristany said coldly. Ruda sighed heavily and shot into a stride, allowing herself to fall behind. Of course you fucking don't. The early days when they still didn't really know each other. It was, altogether, a beautiful day. The brisk wind, which was nearly constant at the university's altitude, was mostly cut by its walls, but a pleasantly cool breeze persisted, which nicely offset the unseasonably warm weather. For early fall, it was pleasantly cool. The winters around the Golden Sea were mild at their worst, but if this pattern held, it might be a downright warm season. For now, though, it was perfect. Professor Jornholt had set out early from his lodgings, planning to take time to walk slowly over the less direct route to work, and had been quite enjoying the walk towards the classroom, until someone exploded out of the azaleas immediately in front of him. Behold! Professor Ruffy fell silent halfway through his customary introduction, but his mouth did not stop moving. Yonhol lowered the stubby finger he'd pointed at the elf, permitting himself the luxury of his faintly smug smile, as Rafi, frowning in confusion, kept apparently talking, but producing no sound. He caught on quickly, scowling at Yonhol, then picked a vial out of a belt pouch and drank down its contents. "That's cheating," he said accusingly. "You'd be amazed how much time and attention on this campus goes towards shutting you up. Perhaps you wouldn't, though. Or have you always carried vials of anti-magic potion everywhere you go?" "Ha! I carry vials of everything everywhere I go." Grinning, Rafi planted his fists on his hips and thrust his hips forward. It would have been less awkward if his groin were further from the dwarven professor's eye level. "Belt of infinite holding, baby! Of course, I got it to hold the infinity beneath my belt, if you know what I mean, which I think you do. The extra storage is a nice perk, though." "And what were you doing in the bushes?" Jarnholt asked, removing his glasses and polishing them on his sleeve as an excuse to avert his eyes. "What else? Lying in wait for my prey. Nailed it, by the way." "I have class at Mestus." "Yes, indeed. That's actually what I wanted to talk to you about." Rahe filled in beside him, as Yonhol continued on his way. "I think everybody's had a chance to size up this year's ferocious. What'd you think?" "In what sense?" "Don't do this to me, Ulrich. You know I don't have the attention span for word games. I'm asking for your overall opinion. Vague impressions, detail not necessary." You might be better off asking Arkney. She's the one who likes the secret tests of character. And I plan on doing just that, since they've probably finished the traditional first one by now. But I like to pull the more level heads before spinning the roulette wheel of Arkney's moods. Jornholt couldn't suppress a chuckle at that. "Well, I'd say they're a potentially volatile mix. The paladins and the demon touch alone, well, lumping them all together seems to me an invitation for trouble. On the other hand, this class has an unusual number of diplomatically inclined individuals who will go a long way toward keeping the peace. Tobias and the Lady of Arion are actually trained meditators, and Miss Faulkner and Juniper seem to have solid instincts in that direction." Rafi lifted his eyebrows in surprise. "You got all that from one class with them? Damn, son." Well, once again, Yonhal allowed himself a trace of satisfaction. "I did the aura trick in that one class. They always enjoy that. It's interesting to see which of them catch on that I might have an ulterior motive. I think only Shane did this time. "What fascinates me," Rafi said, stroking his chin in an ostentatious pantomime of deep thought, "is how you focus upon the relationships between them. This year more than most, I feel that will be the telling." A greenish blur whizzed past him, clapping Professor Rafi on the back of the head and sending him tumbling into the bushes, before resolving itself into the scrawling figure of Professor Telrin. "The record will show," she declared, "that I have been more than lenient with your various over-the-top eccentrics, Admistus. I won't deny there's an element of satisfaction in having to constantly fix whatever new nonsense you've inflicted upon my campus. One hates to be bored. However, when you do things I have specifically told you not to do, such as opening your classes by boasting about the size of your manhood, I'm going to smack some decorum into you no matter who's watching." "Aw yeah," Rafi said, grinning as he extracted himself from the pool of azaleas. "I leave all the ladies with an element of satisfaction. Yow!" Telrin capped him on the side of the head again. This time he hurtled over the bushes, struck the wall beyond, and tumbled to the ground behind them. "Why did you tell him specifically not to?" Jornholt trailed off at the withering look Telrin gave him, and sighed. "Right, never mind. You're actually going to hurt him one of these days, you know. At least hit him in the torso. You could break his neck." Ba 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 ba. Dun, 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 dun. "You always do, Trivix, you always do." Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Dum, 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 dum. Ba-da-bam, bam, bam, bam. Bam, bam, ba-dam, ba, bam, bam, bam. Dun, 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 dun. He's a big boy, she said dismissively. As he won't stop reminding everyone. I want you both to get it into your heads that my patience for shenanigans this year is an all-time low. Our student body is a cross-section of the most significant fractions of the empire and points beyond. And right now, there's too much unrest abroad for us to afford any slip-ups. On top of everything else, Delilah's doing something beyond her usual level of simmering, and I don't believe for a second that she'll leave us out of it entirely. Not after you spent the last year snooping around on her trail. No, she probably won't. John Hall rumbled. I think it's more of an issue of the fact that we have a daughter enrolled here, said Ruffy, brushing crushed blossoms from his shirt. He shrugged at their stares. Excuse me, last surviving daughter. I've got to figure that'll be kind of a big deal to her. Oh, don't give me that look, Arkney. It's not like it's some big secret. Vardini is mentioned by name in some of the old texts. Some of the old texts, repeated, glaring. Those texts are the definition of a big secret. The church has been known to lock people up for knowing that they exist, never mind having read them. Really? He said, putting on an innocent face. You should probably do something about all the copies we've got in the library then. Those are in the restricted... No, never mind. I'm not getting baited into this. I see I'll have to have a talk with Weaver about letting you read stuff. Ha! He planted his fist on his hip again, throwing back his head and laughing dramatically. No one lets Professor Riffy do anything. Raffy is as Raffy does, baby! She growled wordlessly at him and turned to go. Oh wait, hang on, Arkney, this is kind of related. We were just talking about the Froshes. What do you think of them? Think? They're a little more obtuse than I would like, but there's potential there. Of course, we don't get any students without that potential. Alric thinks the most important thing to consider is how they interact with each other. You don't? He shrugged. That's never seemed like such a big deal before. I mean, beyond the obvious. I remember the year we had the vampire and those two clerics, but I can't see this bunch wrecking the campus to get at each other's throats. She regarded him silently for a moment, then lifted one corner of her mouth in what was not exactly a smile. I suggest you hang on to your belt then, Edmustus, because we're about to have a very interesting year. You have no idea who those kids really are. Telrin turned and strolled away, pitching her voice just loud enough to appear behind her. Or more importantly, who they're gonna be. Ba 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 ba. Holy shit, we finished that chapter really quick. This was a short chapter, huh? Yeah. Wow. This was in 2015. Yeesh. That was a really short chapter. I am surprised at how short it was. Also, I think the Evangelion theme playing in the background definitely sped that up. We can take another break. I think I'll read another chapter. Probably chapter 14. Maybe I shouldn't take another break. It's already 12:30. It is 12:30, right? Yeah, it's already 12:30. It's pretty late. Yeah, I don't think I'll read another chapter. I think I'll end it here. Let us see who is streaming. Wait a second, was I on this the entire time? I was reading, right? Oh my god. Oh my god. Okay, cool. I was reading. Oh, thank fuck. And also, thank God the stream I have is like a entire minute or slow. Oh, God, that scared the shit out of me. Uh, bam, 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 bam. Yeah, I don't think I'm reading another chapter. We are actually nearly done with book one. Wow. If we go at the pace of 2 chapters per weekend stream, it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 more streams of this. And then we're done with book one. To be fair, we have like 16 books, I think. Oh. Did I remember right? I did, wow. Yeah, we have 16 books with a bunch of bonus chapters. Bum, bum, ba-dum, bum, ba-dum, bum, bum, ba-da-da-da-da. Ah, yeah, this is good, this is good, this is good, this is good. But yeah, we're probably going to stop here for today. Oh, excuse me. We're definitely going to stop here for today, as my body is saying. Apologies for my armpit hair showing. Let's see who is streaming. Then I can read them. Any suggestions? I have... Ooh, I have someone playing Dungeons and Dragons right now. Oh, it's the one-shot SCP one-shot. We can go there. I also have someone playing Dead by Daylight. Also have someone playing Just Chatting and someone doing art. Anyone have any preferences? If anyone even is still here? Question mark? Question mark? Thank you all for tuning in. Thank you, madam, for the sub as well as the exercise. And thank you, Trivix, for making sure I hydrate and posture check myself. Oh my god. Here are my socials. I do have a YouTube channel where I'm posting the VODs for each of these. I thought I heard the door. Where I'm posting the VODs for each of these chapter readings, as well as most of the VODs from my channel anyway. I also have an Instagram, which I straight up do not use. Mainly because I don't use even my personal Instagram. But it is an avenue for you to contact me if you want to. Because I don't think I have messages turned off on that one, so anyone can contact me. I should post there. I'll post there eventually. I also do have a Twitter. I believe that's actually connected in the About panel. But I don't post anything. I usually do what do you call that? I retweet other people's shit. I don't do any tweeting of my own. What else? Yeah, possibly no stream on Friday night next the coming Friday night. D&D is on hiatus due to schedule changes. We're not sure yet when it will resume, if it will resume. We did end off at like a good campaign ending point though. If you want to watch us play D&D, there is a YouTube playlist. So Anna streams perspective if we are playing. I will be hosting Anna if we get back to playing again, of course. What else? What else? I feel like I'm forgetting something, but I don't really know what. Dun, 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 dun. Oh yeah, definitely check out TGAB. If any of what I've read so far has interested you, TGAB is a story by DD Webb. It's called "The Gods Are Bastards." It has religious tones to it. There's also a bunch of racism, race issues, political issues. There's a lot of things that go on with this story. There's so much world building, and it's one of my favorite stories ever. It is, I will admit, I will warn, it is currently on hiatus. But aside from it being on hiatus, it's such a good fucking read. It's such a good read. I genuinely love it. Oh, so much. And yeah. Yeah. I think we're gonna raid someone I've recently met. They are known as Red Bean Porridge. I don't think anyone here knows who they are. They usually stream art and some Pokemon games. And they have a really interesting title today. So if we do raid them, can I get everyone to like type in a very specific message?